Hey everybody, it's Grandmaster Ben Feingold with another video in our Slav series. This video will concentrate on the exchange Slav. Now, we could play the exchange Slav by exchanging now, very common. Or we could play knight f3, knight f6, and then exchange, also very common. And finally, after knight c3, if black plays knight f6, then we can exchange. So I'm going to go with, I think, the most common move order, which is knight f3, knight f6, and then exchange. And this is a very common position. Whatever move order you choose, this is the likely outcome. And I played this a lot with white when I was a teenager in my 20s because, you know, it's symmetrical, it's my move. How could things go wrong? And I also had black in this position a lot because I played the Slav. So I have a lot of experience. The most common move is bishop f4, which is fine. And if you have white, you should know bishop f5 and e6 and a6. Those are the most common moves. And yeah, they're all about equal. And considering it's a symmetrical, semi-boring position, there's actually a lot of complications in tactics. So if you just play symmetrically, which a lot of people do, white has two ways here to try to get a real advantage. Queen b3 and bishop b5, sometimes both. After bishop b5, you can play bishop b4, you can, but more common is knight d7, which unpins the knight and protects the e5 square a bit more. It's considered safer. And then black can continue development, you know, rook c8, bishop e7, castles, kick the bishop. And, you know, if you play reasonably, everything is about equal. Most people who play the Slav with either color aren't doing hours and hours and hours of analysis. They save that for the night or for something. But knight d7 is a safe move. A lot of people started playing the move a6 because then there's no bishop b5 and there's no knight b5 ever. So it takes care of that. And then they can decide later, do I want to play bishop f5, bishop g4, e6? So for example, after e3, which is a normal looking move, bishop g4 pins the knight. If you play bishop g4 before white plays e3, then the knight could go to e5. Now that would be bad. And I've had white and black in this position, just not at the same time. And white can try other things like knight e5 or rook c1, but a6 is very solid also. I've also played e6, and I faced it. And there's two possible ideas. One is to play very boring, which I did against Jesse Cry in the Tulsa U.S. Championship, 2007 maybe, 2008. And I played bishop d6, and I took, and you know, this not the most exciting position, but white's slightly better. White's bishop is better than black's bishop. I drew the game. And the other way is the way that Julio Becerra played against me, which is to get my bishop, knight h5. Now, if my pawn's not on e3, I can retreat somewhere. And I tried to hang on to my bishop, but I guess trying is the first step to failure. I played bishop g5. I think he attacked my b pawn. I may have played rook b1, but I'm not sure. Then he just kept attacking my bishop, you know, until he could take it. I actually played knight d2 here, I think. Yeah, and that attacks his knight. So he played knight g7, and then he played knight f5. Now, again, this game was, I don't know, 15 years ago, but this is my recollection. It's just black trying to get a double-edged position and get the two bishops instead of like a boring equality where maybe he's tiny worse. So there's a lot of ways for black to play which try to get rid of the symmetry and play for an advantage instead of just playing the same move symmetrical and being a tiny little worse. Happens. So if you play black in a Slav, you have to have something ready for the exchange Slav because some of your opponents are going to play it. And you can pick the variation. You can play symmetrically and solid, or you can play asymmetrically and try to win the game. And if you're white, you can, you know, figure it's the same position. It's my move. Great. I have to be slightly better. And the engine would agree with you. So the exchange Slav can be boring if the players want it. They can trade all their pieces if they want. Or they can play differently than each other, get unclear positions, and both sides can win. And I've seen both. I've seen boring draws, and I've seen really exciting games. Usually, when black is the higher rated player, which you'll see a lot in the exchange Slav, white just wants to draw because he's paired up, and black's like, I can't draw, my opponent's lower rated, so I have to make it tricky somehow. So normally black is trying to destroy the symmetry and do something interesting. This is Grandmaster Ben Feingold. I hope you enjoyed this week's Slav series, and please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time with more opening videos. Bye.